Ah, sorry about that. I slept in. And also apparently YouTube doesn't know where I am because it all screwed up at times. So there's that too. But let's keep going. Let's have a look at that as well. Just grabbing some news. Doesn't seem to be a lot. Everybody wants to talk about the State of the Union. I don't know about you guys, but I'm kind of bored with it, really, to be honest. I don't know, what do you guys think? Are you sick of hearing about the State of the Union? Personally, I am, but anyway. Let's jump into it, I suppose. Let's deal with the news, because apparently I'm a sleepyhead that doesn't know how to set an alarm. Part of the disadvantages of being on sick leave for the past 3 weeks, I suppose. But anyway, let's get into it. So, yeah, State of the Union address was yesterday. And we pretty much called it, to be honest. We pretty much said a few months ago that it was going to happen literally as the Democrats were going to cave. Democrats are going to come to an agreement, I suppose, how you want to put it. And that they were going to go through, and Trump was going to have his State of the Union address. Now what I reckon will happen is he will now go through and he will, basically go through and he'll do the wall through emergency procedures. That's what I reckon will happen. But at the end of the day, obviously we'll have to see if that happens. But that's what I think his plan is emergency procedures. And that will allow him to get his wall and not have to cave to the Democratic Party. But as for the State of the Union address, it was the second... Oops, sorry. It was the most viewers approve of second State of the Union address. I saw figures from around high 70%. 79%, I think it was. 76%. 76% approve of Trump's approval of State of Union address. And, kind of makes the Democrats look a little pathetic, really, to be honest. Because here he is, giving the State of Union address. Nancy Pelosi's supposedly reading fake paper. And, I don't know. It kind of seemed a bit childish to me, if you ask me. But yeah, at the end of the day, 76% of Americans who turned into President Trump's State of the Union address Tuesday night approved of the speech he gave. Just 24% disapproved. There's still 24% that have Trump derangement syndrome. As often the case in the State of the Union address, the people who watched tonight's speech lean more towards the president's own party, at least compared to Americans overall. In the latest CBS national poll released last month, 25% of Americans identify themselves as Republicans. Among those who watched tonight's address, that figure was 43%. Of course, more Republicans are going to watch it. That's obvious. Shit. Did you really expect anything else? So yeah, but anyway. I do find it interesting that more independents watched it than Democrats. That's quite interesting, but anyway. While 97% of Republicans approved the speech, far fewer Democrats who did turn in 30%. Most independents did approve. So independents were around 62%, Republicans were around 97%, and Democrats were around 30%. So, yeah. But yeah. Pretty good percentages, really, I would have to say. I would say it was pretty good percentages. Like 97% of Republicans liked it, and even the independents, 82%. So that's kind of cool, actually. Looking ahead, Democrats who watched the speech see different things. However, just 15% think the president's speech will unite the country. Of course, Trump derangement syndrome. And bipartisan, a third just said the speech made them think Trump and House Speaker Pelosi will work together going forward. Yeah, but the thing is at the end of the day, that's them not asking who do you think will stop working together. I would say that at the end of the day, it's more likely Nancy Pelosi and the Democrats who are actually stopping this from happening. So yeah, I would say I doubt they are going to work together in the future. And I think more of that is more of a Pelosi thing than a Trump thing. And ideas on immigration, favour, 72%, 28%, so pretty much down party lines. Middle East, 74% proposed troops in the Middle East are proposed for the US troops in the Middle East. What's that? From what they heard tonight, 71% of speech watchers think that there is a crisis at the southern border. That is interesting. 71%, yes. Holy dooly. And apart from that, ideas on your head on immigration. Go away. And what to do about the troops in the Middle East. 74% are favourable for troops in the Middle East. That's a little bit concerning. From what you heard is a second Trump summit. Good idea, 78%. So, yeah, generally it's a pretty favourable response. It's generally a pretty good response, actually. So, yeah, the State of the Union generally went pretty well. I can't really say anything bad about it. Look, at the end of the day, it's a State of the Union address. Like, yeah, it's pretty much what you get. The people that hate it, Trump derangement syndrome, I suppose. But at the end of the day, yeah. In chat, Greg says, and it was fantastic. Greg, I would happen to agree with you on that. It was pretty good. Minnie, I must confess, I wrote some mean things about Pelosi last night, like whose ball was she wearing on her? Oh, ouch. Okay. Greg, my wife got mad because I laughed aloud in joy. Oh, happy wife, happy life, Greg. Minnie, and her dependents were full. I'm not sorry. And that, sorry. At her dependents were full. Yeah. Greg, Minnie, laugh. Minnie, what were you laughing at while your wife wasn't happy? Apparently my screen wants to refresh. We're laughing at your wife wasn't happy. Nice overview. I can't remember specifically. Probably working in the crowd. Something that was awesome. I don't know if they should clap or not. Yeah. And we'll get to that. We haven't finished this whole Pelosi thing wrap up yet. Pelosi petty clap at Trump during his State of the Union address. Here are some of the best memes. And of course, obviously, people are going through and memeing the absolute crap out of Nancy Pelosi. And it doesn't stop there. Don't worry. Even the Democratic Party is actually copying it right now. Even though she did not utter a single word during the President's State of the Union address on Tuesday, Speaker Nancy Pelosi's body language seemed to speak volumes, because it always does. Pelosi became the topic of internet discourse and memeing when she rose out of her seat to clap vigorously at the President when he talked about diplomacy and cooperation, compromise, and the common good. We must reject the policies of revenge, resistance, and retribution, and embrace the boundless potential of cooperation, compromise, and the common good, Trump said during his address. The diplomacy came hours after Trump reportedly called Senator Majority Leader Chuck Schumer a nasty son of a something or other, and Pelosi seemed to have reacted accordingly. Yeah. It's quite funny, actually, some of the memes. People are just, yeah. Some of them are priceless. Some of them are really good, actually. Nurse. But anyway. But yeah, like I say, obviously some people are going through just literally, taking the piss out of Nancy Pelosi, mocking her for, her clapback and everything like that. To be honest, I find her whole attitude in this was rather disgusting. I really, really do. But, hey. Watch Buzz Aldrin stand and salute Trump in the middle of the huge standing ovation. Astronaut Buzz Aldrin snapped to attention and rendered a salute when President Donald Trump recognized him at Tuesday's State of the Union address. So Trump began his speech, delayed a week by the recent government shutdown, but recognized several World War II veterans seated behind Aldrin, and then turned his attention to the famous astronaut. In 2019, we also celebrate 50 years since brave young pilots flew 250,000 miles through space to a planet, space, and planted an American flag on the face of the moon. Half a century later, we were joined by one of the Apollo 11 astronauts who planted that flag, Buzz Aldrin. Aldrin stood facing the president, snapped to attention. He rendered a salute to those seated around him. He stood to applaud. So look, at the end of the day, obviously, the president said, "Thank you, Buzz." The president concluded. It was kind of a heartwarming moment. And obviously, look, at the end of the day, whether you believe in the moon landing or not, this sort of stuff is, I don't know. I kind of like it. I kind of like Trump paying homage to veterans and sort of stuff. As a lot of you guys know, I have a huge military background, huge military family. So at the end of the day, I would say this is kind of a very good move. Not just optics wise, but he is a astronaut. He deserves respect, and yeah. But anyway, whether you believe in the moon landing or not, Minnie, I don't tend to believe in it too much either myself. But let's keep going. We'll start approaching the whole conspiracy theory, and then the channel will get shut down, apparently. In chat, dependents are dependents are adult diapers. Love Trump, flew to the moon, ha ha ha. How long before Buzz is Me Too'd? Oof, yeah, good question, Seven. I do think he's going to cop a little bit of flack over this. Him saluting the president is not going to go down well with the left. He kind of represents everything they hate, but yeah, I don't know. It'd be kind of funny if we have someone claiming that he was sexually assaulting them in a space capsule or something. See how far out the left want to go. The media's 9 worst fact checks of Trump's State of the Union address. So obviously, because Trump has gone through and done the State of the Union address, because Trump has gone through and made claims, the left-wing media now wants to go through and double-check everything he says, which is, look, fine, I get. No problems. Okay, you want to check it, fine. But some of these fact checks are pretty... They're pretty... I don't know. We'll get into it. The establishment media fact check had a pretty rough Tuesday night. Began with when they went into State of the Union knowing that they no longer have any credibility with the public. They came out of it forced to lie or pound on a series of tedious nitpicks, which is what I basically thought of it, to be honest. Or in the case of the far-left Washington Post, Glenn Klesher had to pretend the sexual assault of migrant women isn't as bad as Trump's making it sound. Oof. There are 9 worst media fact checks of the President Trump's State of the Union address. New York Times caught faking newsling. The New York Times labelled as false Trump's statement about the legal border crossings being an urgent national crisis. Now, look, at the end of the day, with this national crisis, to me, this is a opinion. This is Trump's opinion on this thing. So I don't know how exactly you go fact-checking an opinion when he's calling it a national crisis. That is his view, which I tend to agree with, but it's his view on that. So, yeah. Good night, Greg. Have a great night, man. But yeah, so they had to go through, but they only, after a paragraph of paramedic, blah, 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 the far-left New York Times finally admits a record number of families have tried to cross the border in recent months, overwhelming officers at the border and creating a new kind of humanitarian crisis. In other words, Trump told the truth, but the Times is continuing on you not making it through that blah 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 to find out. So Trump said we have created 5.3 million new jobs. According to them, they only made 4.9 million new jobs. Now, as for that figure, I'd obviously want to go checking into that myself. Taking what mainstream media says with a grain of salt, they claim it's only 4.9, and he's saying 5.3. It's like, okay, he was out by a couple of 100,000, right? Like, shit, like, Jesus Christ. And that's going to depend on what source you go through and what news you get, isn't it? Like, if this is, you know, what you're sort of claiming that Trump's lying, but, yeah. But anyway, New York Times caught fake newsing again. Although the border appearance plummeted by 91% of the fence was completed in San Diego, the Times labelled it misleading, not an outright lie. Note, when Trump said the border barrier in San Diego almost completely ended illegal crossings, you see, it was just a coincidence. At the end of the day, yeah, he literally, look, like I say, he will say something like, it almost completely destroyed border crossings. And their response will be, it didn't destroy border crossings because at the end of the day, this one person still went through and crossed. And it's like, yeah, you go into such extremes to make it so that he's lying. Like, he didn't say there wasn't one crossing. He said it almost completely destroyed it. Okay? He didn't say it completely stopped. It almost completely destroyed it. And your point is that you have to go to the extreme to make sure that it comes across as misleading. It's like, you know. But anyway. Trump said we've been fighting in the Middle East for almost 19 years because it's been almost 18 years. The New York Trump calls a liar because the New York Times will decide what almost means, which is another statement. Like I said, it's another statement of we've been fighting for almost 19 years. No, we've been only fighting for 18 years. That's not right. Well, yeah, but he literally says almost 19 years. 18 is almost 19, okay? Look, and it depends on when you're going to claim a war started, when it didn't finish, and... anyway. Washington Post nitpicks assault claims. NRP's spending tax dollars well. It's just all insane nitpicking over everything. And that's what I say, they'll say, he'll say something like, for example, what we just said, we've almost been at war for 19 years, and they're like, no, it's only been 18. Well, congrats, almost 19 years is 18 years, okay? Yeah, but anyway. This altered photo of women lawmakers in the KKK hoods is spreading, and Twitter is refusing to stop it. So BuzzFeed is getting their panties in a bunch because a bunch of mega guys have gone through and superimposed a whole bunch of Klan hoods or people wearing the Klan robes over the Democratic Party. And BuzzFeed's now losing their shit because, you know, they're not going to do anything about it. So it's kind of funny, actually. I thought it was kind of well done, but yeah. Like you can see there, that one there. Oh no, so this is an old photo? This must be an old photo of it, is it? Twitter's own policy states that it doesn't allow symbols historically associated with hate groups. Twitter is allowing an altered photo comparing women members of the Congress who wore white to the State of the Union address to the KKK. Okay, so it's comparing the two photos. Oh yeah, I get it now. Still funny. Despite its own policy that doesn't allow symbol hate groups, Members of Congress, mostly Democratic women, wore white clothes on Tuesday night to honour the suffrage movement. The image, which first aired on the far-right conspiracy outlet InfoWars, photoshopped with white Klan-style hoods on the women. Its most popular iteration was spread on Twitter by radio host Mark Summon, who I'll have to go and check out later, to his 175,000 followers. To be honest, I think it's kind of funny. And what did you expect? You go wearing a whole bunch of white, and, you know, people are going to assume that you... And this is from the party that literally went through and actually... Yeah, like, this is the party that created the Ku Klux Klan. Well, why are you surprised that at the end of the day, people have compared you to the KKK? You're the party of the KKK. You founded them when they first started. And you're wearing a whole bunch of white. Like, yeah. But anyway.